Hey everybody, Tony D with a lamp video. It's a little after 3 a.m. and I'm back on my night owl time periods, and it just sometimes like late at night I get more clarity when I'm thinking about stuff. And I was watching a video on the Jimmy Dore Show, and if you haven't seen Jimmy Dore, he's pretty good. He's what I'd call an honest liberal. A guy who recognizes that there are a lot of problems in the Democratic Party, especially right now. And he had Rose McGowan on as a guest and interviewed her, and it was very interesting. Generally, I kind of like Rose. I think hearing about her story or more details of it, I came to appreciate and respect her more because she's been through so much, and she's a little screwed up, I think, but hearing all the stuff she went through, I'm impressed that she is as together as she is. Because I think a lesser person would have been broken, absolutely broken, some of the stuff she went through. And this really isn't about her story, but it's about something she and Jimmy were discussing, which I thought was an interesting take. It's the idea that the Democrats are a cult and the Republicans are a cult. And both of them even acknowledge that, they're both culty in their own ways, but the nice thing about the Republicans, at least they just tell you who they are and what they're doing. So there's a certain honesty in them, which I respect as well. But the cult thing got me for a minute, and they were talking about. But the one thing I really greatly disagree with, and this is a lot of leftists say this, is this idea of we got to break the system, man, because it's a system. I don't think it's a system. Here's what I think it is. And I know you're going to laugh because I always gravitate to certain subjects, and this is one I always gravitate to, which is mafia families, right? I don't see the system as an organized thing. Not really. What I see it is human beings have this idea that no matter what they do, no matter who they are, they're always good. Even the people who are horrible, horrible liars, cheats, and horrible people, they have to rationalize that, no, really I'm good. Yeah, I do all these horrible things, but it's cheeky and fun. Like, I'm not a bad person, I'm just roguish. Yeah, me and my boys, yeah, we do some bad things, but in the end, it's all good. And I think everybody's like that. I think the Clintons are like that. I don't think they're this evil cabal of people, although I think they've done some pretty evil things. But I do think they run things just like everybody else. It's just that their bar for what they're willing to do is much lower than other people, right? That they're willing to lie and cheat and steal and do all these horrible things. And I think it's not that their attitude that they're part of this organized the system. It's just they see themselves just like everybody else. They see themselves as rogues. Oh, no. See, I'm not part of the system either. I'm Bill Clinton. Yeah, I'm doing all this cool stuff. I did all these great things for people. Yeah, I did some stuff for myself. But, I didn't mean to hurt anybody. That's the attitude I think they are. And I compare that attitude to the Mafia guys, because I think in a lot of ways they're that way too. They don't see that, because they start off, when they start their careers, it's often like, they're poor and it's petty crime and they don't have any alternatives. So they get into that life because, well, what choice did I have? I have to feed my family, I got to feed myself. So they just do it. And they like a group like the Clintons or the Bidens or the Obamas or whomever, see everything as, well, this is what everybody does, right? I mean, I have to do everything I can to advance my family and me, because if I don't, they'll eat us alive. We'll lose everything, and other people will come along and do the same stuff anyway. So what's the difference? At least it's me doing it, and I'm a good person. So I think that's the mentality. It's like, they're like gangs. They really are. It's, there's been a million comparisons to Washington, D.C. and the Mafia. And I think they are very similar in a lot of ways. They're family run, right? I mean, you got Pelosi in there. And it occurred to me today, why is Pelosi still in power? Why? And I think probably it's in part because she knows her nephew, Gavin Newsom, was being sort of queued up to be a presidential running mate in the future. And she needs to stay in there to protect him now, right? Because California is in such rough shape and he's being recalled and all these horrible things happen. And you look at Gavin Newsom himself, right? Listen to his excuse. He goes out breaking his own rules, his own effing rules on the lockdown, going to a fancy French restaurant. He knows he shouldn't be there. He absolutely knows. But it's like, he comes out, he's like, I made a mistake. You know me. It's me, Gavin, your buddy. It's like they all think, I'm a good person. Yeah, I broke the rules that I set up for everybody else, but I'm a good person. I had to break the rules. It was my buddy's birthday. I couldn't let him down. People understand that, right? And they have no sense of others because these are the sociopaths that get into the positions of power. Because people who do have that sense of, well, I can't go out. I made this rule, or, I can't let my wife and kids not see me all the time. Those are the people who don't get the power because it's somewhere along the way, their ambition isn't great enough to warrant the sacrifice, right? They're not sacrificing all their time and energy to ruthlessly get to the top. It's the ruthless that move up to the top. If you have a politician who's not, well, I'm not willing to lie about my opponent, you're probably not going to get elected. You're probably going to get eaten alive out there. So the evolution of all this is that we get these sort of gangster-like attitudes, even though they're not gangsters per se. But it's very mafia in the way they operate. It's self-serving, number one. It's family-based. There's a code there. There's definitely a code, but ultimately, when push comes to shove, the code goes right out the window. Because again, there's always that exception. There's always that rationale. No, it's me. I'm your buddy. I'm not doing anything really all that wrong. I'm just bending the rules because I'm a cheeky fella. I'm roguish, right? I went to the French Laundry. What's the big deal? I had to go to my friend's birthday party. You do the same thing. Don't tell me differently. Of course I had to do some insider trading while I was in Congress. Come on, everybody does it. Plus, it's me. It's just helping me, and the more I can get in, and I can help you. And yeah, so Bill Clinton goes to Epstein's Island. Well, I need some kind of stress relief, right? I mean, I've had some pretty stressful days. What's wrong with that? And I think that's the way these guys operate, 24/7. It's a mindset that does not provide any self-examination. And I think a lot of people are like that. I'm not just picking on the elites, let's say, but they need that disconnect in order to function. Because if they spend every day going, "Oh my God, I'm a horror. I've cheated on my wife with underage girls," or, I've been a total hypocrite. Like, they don't think that way. They can't. The moment they start thinking that way, the weakness shows on their face, shows on, and their body language. And because they're often in these high-powered positions, you can't show that weakness. That weakness is your enemy. And your opponents will take advantage of that, and they know that. So it's all pushed back, like, oh, well, yeah, sure, I did some bad things while I was in office, but I did more good things. It outweighed. I only did it when I was in office, and as soon as I'm out of office, at the end, it'll be a net positive good for everybody. But really, it's not when you really look at it. I mean, to me, the Clintons are an example of, you can argue that, yeah, Bill Clinton did some good in the world. He did some good things, initiated some fairly decent policies. But a lot of the things he takes credit for and that people give him credit for, he really didn't do. Like the .com bubble, which eventually burst. I wasn't on him. I mean, it happened while I was in office. The economy was great, but it just so happened he was in office at a good time. The internet was exploding and it was just making everybody money hand over fist. So it wasn't like he really did it, but he happened to be there, and like he didn't stand in the way of the progress, which he clearly could have done. That being said, that makes him a slightly better president than, plenty of the other people in the modern age who were around. He at least allowed certain things to happen, mostly because, he wasn't constantly looking to build more rules and laws. Whereas Biden is like the exact opposite. Man, that guy, every day, it's another ruling from dear leader about stupid stuff. And when you look at a guy like Biden, and then you look at his son, I think you can surmise how detached he is. Why did he do all these things? Why did he get all this power and money? What was it all for? Well, it was for, you have to imagine, his family. But look at his family. Look at his son. His son is a train wreck, in my view. He's just an absolute train wreck. Whoring, drugs, deals with China. And you could say, well, Biden wasn't involved. It was him. But come on. Come on, man. So, anyhow, that was my thoughts. I think these guys are really like the Mafia in that way. The mindset is, I'm just a cheeky little fella.